sad goodbyes will there be spoken, and time won't matter anymore. Beulah land, I'm longing for you, and someday on thee I'll stand. There my home shall be eternal. Beulah land, sweet Beulah land. I'm looking now across that old river to where my faith shall end in sight. There's just a few more days to labor, and I will take my heavenly flight. Beulah land, I'm longing for you, and someday on thee I'll stand. There my home shall be eternal. Beulah land, sweet Beulah land. Beulah land, sweet Beulah.
Good morning, and thank you for joining me. We are 2.5 hours earlier than usual. I accidentally set the. Oh, hold on a second. You still know my mic is working. We are 2.5 hours earlier than usual, only because I accidentally set the uh, go live time to 5 o'clock. So if anybody has been hanging on since 5 o'clock, I sincerely apologize. Um, Normally, you wouldn't have seen me for another uh, 2.5 hours. So I guess this is the compromise. And I'm so grateful that people tune in anyway. And wow, we have 4 people on Rumble already. That blows my mind. and I was speechless. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm sending out a share to YouTube, Facebook, and X. For some reason, I think it's because I haven't paid for the subscription. I do the free. That it doesn't allow me to do videos on X yet. So I guess that's why. And I'm not going to pay for that. I I've got to focus on things like paying the rent. Not paying for that stuff is beyond my ability. By the way, that's why things seem so hokey around here is because we are operating on a shoestring budget. I don't think there's anything that I've paid for other than the equipment. I am grateful to companies like Rumble and even YouTube that allow me to post for free, and whatever pittance they get from the advertising on my channel, hey, more power to them. But nonetheless, let's get started. Today, unlike Monday through Friday, we do, um, my brain is playing catch up. Monday through Friday, we do a study of the Bible, one chapter a day, or about that many. You know, there are some chapters that are 3 verses long, so you have to do two, otherwise it'd be a 5 minute devotion. But on Saturday, it's a little different. It's a little shorter, and it is questions. The questions come from a book called The Book of Questions by Professor Gregory Stock. Let's see how much details we get in each of our channels. Okay. The only one that doesn't go into more detail is Twitch. Oh, hey Diesel, good to see you, my friend. Normally we are on Rumble only Monday through Friday, but on Saturday, um, because I'm learning to use the Rumble uh, system, it is something I can simulcast to Twitch and to YouTube. The one thing that's a problem is that the software doesn't work the same. I can't prepare things as readily, and switching between things is a little more difficult. So we do it different. But today's question, let's focus on that. It is, if you could if you could wake up tomorrow having gained one ability or quality, what would it be? When I think about that, there are many things that come to mind, but what comes first is superhero powers. And what power have I always dreamed of wanting to have? The one power I've always wanted to have was flight. And the only time I ever get to experience that without interaction is I have some very vivid dreams where I just stand there and float up and then start flying. Kind of like You know, when you go into character creative mode in Minecraft, where you don't assume the elytra flight, but you control vertical movement up and down, forward, backward, left, and right, and you go to where that's what my dreams are like, and that's the kind of flight I would love to have. I would love to just stand there, start floating up, and then start floating away. That'd be a great. Can you imagine some robber in New York City standing there going, holding a gun at you, going, "Give me your money or your life." And you look at him and go, "What's that up in the air?" And he looks up, and you start floating into view. It's me. Bye. Now, that kind of flight without super strength isn't worth a whole lot. You go to the government and go, "Hey, I can fly." The only thing that they're going to do is the FAA will slap a sticker on you and a little black box to you because they would have to keep track of you so that you don't get sucked into a jet engine. But I would love to be able to fly. Now, more practical, if there was something I could do that is humanly possible, but I can't, I would love to lead people. I I don't have the ability to really motivate, hundreds of people. I've been a squad leader in the military, and I've been a, CEO of a software company. So I had people working for me. In the military, it was because they did what I told them, because if they didn't, the platoon sergeant would come down on their throat and chew them out. And I wasn't a squad leader for very long, maybe a month. I went back to the ranks of being a simple soldier. That's how it is in the National Guard. One time you're there, and one time you're not. It is what it is. And when I was a CEO, the the uh, the um, people do what you tell them because you've got their paycheck. If they didn't do what I told them, I didn't have them work for me anymore. That was very simple. That's not true leadership, though. True leadership is getting people to do things that they otherwise wouldn't. I wish I had that ability, not because I would use it for nefarious things, but because I think I'm right most of the time, and what I want to do is the right thing to do. But you know what? If there was something I could do in a natural, real world right now, I honestly wish I had the ability to heal people, to walk up and go, "You're no longer sick." My brother Dan has been very sick. He is currently in a recovery home. He spent a month in a hospital because of his heart, and it's because I blame it directly on getting a COVID shot. He's had problems for 10 years, over 10 years now. And in those 10 years, he's been on dialysis 3 times a week. And it's prevented him from doing a whole lot. But after he got the COVID shot, his heart changed genetically. And it's been super weak ever since. His lungs have been dealing with pneumonia ever since. And it's only tribute to the strength of the Miller genetics that he has survived. 2 times in the last 2 years that he should have been dead on the operating table. But the genetics, and because God heard our prayer to keep him alive, that he's alive today. I wish I had the ability to go up to him and say, you no longer have this. You no longer have to worry about your kidneys. You no longer have to worry about your lungs. And I could go to everyone and go, you no longer have to worry about COVID. I wish. Oh, my phone is telling me it's got a low battery. Oh, well, um, I wish I had the ability to take that away, but I don't. Diesel says that patience is a superpower. Well, that's that's not me. But you know what? I have a God who has every power. God is all powerful. Omnipotent is what the tribute, the word that describes that is. So I kind of wish I had the superpower to understand why God does things the way he does. Because there are a lot of things that happen that I go, why, Lord? And you know what? In James it tells us, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not. That means God gives the wisdom that you need to understand. If you just ask him. So that superpower is at hand to know what God is doing and why he's doing it. And so sometimes we don't understand it right away. But once we get through it, almost every time we understand why we went through what we went through, as long as we yield to God the whole time. And I I I see a lot of why God allowed Dan to go through these things. Number one, it has built Dan's faith in ways that you and I would have not understood and could not understand unless you went through the same issue. But on my part, it taught me part of my Christian life that I didn't understand for a long time, and that is Christian love. In in First John, it talks about loving your brother, and it says if you hate your brother, you can't love God. The love of God is not in you. And for the longest time, if you ask me if I like somebody, if I didn't like them, I just said I don't hate them. I thought that love was the absence of hate. and that's not true. Love is a step beyond. And now, if you ask me, do I love other people? Yes, I do, very much. Hate rarely comes into mind anymore, even of my worst enemies. If you ask me, do I hate the Taliban? No, I love them, but some of them have to be taken out. That's hard to understand, and I don't know which ones to be taken out, so I leave that up to God. Any of them, if they were in front of me, I would share the gospel with them and tell them that Jesus Christ loves them no matter what they've done. There was an atheist, Penn that said he doesn't mind when people tell him about the Lord, even though he's an avowed atheist. And it's because he said, if you had the means for me to live forever and didn't share it with me, you would have to hate me. And that is something that stuck with me, is that I will share the gospel with anybody because I do love them, no matter who they are. Now, there are some people who have to pay their debt to society. That's why I'm not against the death penalty. But I don't rejoice in the death of others. I remember Ted Kennedy. Not a lot of you will remember Ted Kennedy, but Ted Kennedy, he was called the Lion of the Senate. He was the brother of John Kennedy, and he was the one person I could guarantee that I disagreed with on every vote in Congress. He was a senator from Massachusetts, and during his time, he opposed everything that was good. And there was a time when I hated him and wanted him out. I didn't want to. I didn't want to see him die, but I wanted to see him stop being senator. Well, that didn't happen until he died. And at the time he died, I kind of rejoiced. Like, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with this man anymore. Because 20 years in Washington D.C., you deal with a lot. But immediately, it burned my heart to know that I was rejoicing at the death of someone. But back to Dan. Dan's heart, kidneys, and lung issues were grating on me, and you do everything you can, and it still irks at you a little bit. Well, through his illness and his hospitalization and his nearly dying several times, my brain started thinking, what is life going to be like without my brother Dan? And I I didn't want to lose him. And now I love my brother Dan with all my heart, and there's nothing that irritates me anymore. Anything that would irritate the average person, I think about, would I rather have Dan here with me doing that, or would I rather him not be here? And I would rather he be here. And I've learned to apply that in all aspects of my life. Every person that I interact with, whether it be people online or in person. I ask myself, would I rather that person be here or not? And if ever I find myself saying I would rather that person not be here, I get on my knees and ask for forgiveness because I don't wish that on anyone. And if I ever did, I would be knocking myself silly. I'd be slapped by myself to the point where I knock myself out because that's absolutely nothing in my heart. Now, other people I'm glad that I won't have to deal with. You know what? I'm glad I won't have to deal with the Biden administration after 20 some more days. I'm glad that many Congress people I won't have to deal with anymore. And when I say deal with, I mean deal with their decisions. Now there are some that I still have to that I can't wait till they're out of office. I don't want them dead at any manner. But the problem with that is, and I've come to realize, is that even if you get rid of the knuckleheads, there are far more knuckleheads waiting to replace them. So I don't worry about that anymore either. I don't worry about the knuckleheads in office because when they get out, there's going to be somebody just as knuckleheadedly replacing them. Diesel wisdom is a blessing and a curse in that it's a blessing to know God's working, and it's a curse to know, man, why did I have to be such a obstinate knucklehead that I had to go through this to learn that? And it's also a curse in that you see others making the same mistake and you stand there going, look, you ought not do that. You don't want to do that because you don't want the result. And they go on with it anyway. And you're like, oh man, my heart breaks. But there's nothing we can do about it. We can warn them, but we can't stop them. All right, well, that's it for today. Like I said, this is a shorter program. The Monday through Friday program is usually about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and this one was a little less than a half hour, I think. But yeah, 28 minutes and 54 seconds. Okay, but that's it for today. I thank you so much for joining me, and many of you join me outside of outside the regular live viewing and watch afterward. We have I'm so thankful this whole year to see how much the program has grown. We have we have 4 to 5 regulars tuning in live every Monday through Friday morning, and we have up to 100 visitors or viewers per day. That blows my mind, considering that last year we had 25 followers and we didn't have anybody joining live. But you know what? This program works so much better when there's more people interacting. So tell your friends about the program. Tell them to join us Monday through Friday. It's at 5:30 Pacific time, so that's 8:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Central time, 6:30 Pacific time or Mountain time. And the reason I choose that time is because we need to start our day off right. And one of the key ways to start your day off right is through study of the Word of God. So be sure to join us. Thanks, and have a great weekend.
Precious memories, how they linger, how they ever flood my soul.